Ahoy, my friends, it's your old buddy Doc with another story time for you. And tonight we're going to be starting something special that we've never done before. We're actually going to have a series of books that we're going to start reading. And tonight we're going to start that series off with a book from an author that we've had a couple of times before and we seem to have enjoyed their work. And it's going to be Captain Blownaparte and the Golden Skeleton. Now, tonight's going to be part one. We've read other books by Helga Hopkins and David Benham, and we've had a very good time with them. So let's go ahead and begin so we can get started with our series. Captain Blownaparte and his crew were celebrating on their famous pirate ship, the Battered Cod. They just won their first victory against the dastardly pirate, Captain Purplebeard, and the deck was piled high with large treasure chests packed full of gold coins. But Sproogie, Captain Blonaparte's nephew, was only interested in one small treasure chest, the one they'd found secretly hidden in Captain Purplebeard's cabin. "Go on then, boy. Open the chest," chuckled the captain. Sproogie gingerly opened the lid and let out a disappointed sigh. "Oh, just another load of boring old gold coins." "I don't know that I'd be disappointed." "But I love gold coins," boomed the captain, sticking his hand deep into the chest and wiggling his fingers about in glee. Then suddenly he pulled it out with a painful yelp. There, clamped firmly onto his hand, was a glistening golden skull. But seeing Captain Blownaparte, the skull quickly let go and tumbled back into the chest. Everyone stared open-mouthed. "Who on earth are you?" asked Sproogie fearfully. The golden skull impatiently clattered his jaw from side to side, explaining that he'd once been the captain of a large and beautiful ship, but had fallen foul of a nasty ghost captain, who turned him into a golden skeleton. His only chance of turning back into a human again was finding someone to help him track down the rest of his golden bones. Now, little Sproogie had a very soft heart and immediately volunteered that they should all help the skeleton. The rest of the crew fancied a decent adventure and all chimed in with their agreement. The skull told them that his neck bones were hooked on a chain round Captain Gingerbeard's neck. This notorious pirate was one of Captain Purplebeard's many nasty brothers. "You'll be lucky to get him." "He lives," chirped Rosie. "He lives in a castle on a high cliff from where he spies on treasure ships so he can rob 'em. The castle is so well guarded, we'll never get in." So Prosper, the ship's clever parrot, scratched his beak thoughtfully and came up with the perfect answer. "They'll deliver themselves to the castle, but secretly hidden in a wine barrel." Ooh, that sounds like the way to go. Later, Captain Blownaparte, Sproogie, and Turnip, the ship's pet rat, all squeezed themselves very tightly into a wine barrel. Sproogie took along a rucksack full of Sticky Toffee too. This was the captain's legendary secret weapon. Pedro, the strongest member of the crew, carried the barrel up to the castle, where a grumpy guard took it off him and rolled it down into the cellar with a big kick. Prosper, however, had secretly flown into the cellar through an open skylight and tapped on the barrel when the coast was clear. Aye, well, that was rather smart of him. Love those smart parrots. Panting and sputtering, Captain Blownaparte and Sproogie crawled out. Turnip, however, was enjoying the fun, especially when a couple of his rat cousins peeped out to see what was going on. Luckily, they were only too pleased to show Turnip a hidden staircase which joined up to the castle's secret passage. The captain set off first, and the others, rather fearfully, followed behind. Ooh, a spooky secret passage. The crooked staircase was deathly dark and led upstairs to a narrow, winding passage. Sproogie didn't like it one little bit. It was full of dust and cobwebs, and worst of all, giant spiders. Suddenly, Sproogie was stopped in his track by a most delicious smell. In fact, it was so delicious, he quite forgot himself. Until suddenly, his eyes met the biggest spider he'd ever seen in his life. Sproogie desperately tried to wiggle away when disaster struck. Right underneath him, a crack opened up in the floor, and the poor boy tumbled through it, right onto the table in the castle kitchen, where an enormous pot was being stirred. "Oh, heavens!" screamed the cook. "There's a boy in my soup!" They just dropped in for lunch. "Quickly! We've got to divert attention away from Sproogie, so the captain can hook him out of the soup," whispered Prosper in Turnip's ear. So Prosper flooded into the kitchen and perched on a steaming plum pudding. "Oh no!" screamed another cook. "There's a parrot on my pudding!" Turnip didn't want to be left out and scuttled after Prosper into the kitchen and plunged headfirst into an enormous bowl of custard. "Oh no!" screamed yet another cook. "There's a rat in my custard!" Custard would be good right now. While all eyes were on Turnip and Prosper, Captain Blownaparte hooked Sproogie out of the soup and bundled him back along the secret passage. Quick as a flash, they were joined by Prosper, who was munching a large helping of plum pudding, and a truly bedrazzled Turnip, who was dripping all over in bright yellow custard. After going around in circles, they finally reached the top room of the castle, which was blocked by a big wooden door. Through the keyhole, they saw Captain Gingerbeard behind his telescope, spying on passing treasure ships. I'm still in the mood for custard and maybe some fish fingers. Suddenly, Sproogie had a brilliant idea and whispered it to Captain Blownaparte. "You keep Gingerbeard busy, and I'll see to the rest," said the little boy. Slowly and silently, they opened the door and crept into the room. But when Gingerbeard turned and saw them, he quickly drew his sword. "Blasted Captain Blownaparte! I'll finish you once and for all!" boomed the nasty pirate. But Sproogie had sneaked behind Gingerbeard and smeared a load of Sticky Toffee around the brass eyepiece of the telescope. Ooh. Wonder what he's going to do with that. Then, in the confusion, Prosper shouted, "Huge treasure ship coming up over there!" On hearing this, Gingerbeard abandoned Captain Blownaparte and dashed over to the telescope and pressed his eye hard to the eyepiece. "What treasure ship?" he thundered. But when he tried to move his eye away, he found he was well and truly glued on by the Sticky Toffee. I think I'll look after this in future, giggled Captain Blownaparte, as he smartly removed the golden bones from around Gingerbeard's neck. Captain's learning what not to do from other captains. "You'll never get out of here alive," screamed Gingerbeard. But Captain Blownaparte simply grinned as he and the others ran up a spiral staircase leading to the outside terrace on the very top of the castle. Suddenly they found themselves among several large cannons pointing towards passing ships, and a large bedsheet fluttering on a washing line. "Oh dear," said Captain Blownaparte. "I took the wrong door, I think. We're well and truly trapped." "No, we're not," Prosper said with a steely look in his eyes. "If you follow my instructions, we'll simply fly away from the castle." I think the bird has an idea. He told the captain and Sproogie to turn a nearby table upside down and glue the four corners of the bedsheet to the four table legs with some sticky toffee. Next, they glued a piece of rope round a cannonball and loaded it into the cannon while the other end of the rope was tied to the table. Turnip shook his head at Sproogie. "I think Prosper's gone a little bit bonkers." Prosper then told them all to perch on the upturned table. Then he lit the cannon and flooded in with them. Seconds later, the cannonball shot out of with an enormous big bang, yanking the upturned table along behind it. With a big thunderous boom, I bet. In a flash, they were flying over the sea. "This is so brilliant," laughed Sproogie. "Oh, yes, and don't forget to fasten your seatbelts," yelled the captain. Although Turnip had gone a little bit green, Prosper couldn't resist teasing him with a few choice words. "So who's the mad one now, Turnip?" Before long, they saw their ship below them, and Prosper yelled at the captain to use his cutlass leg to slice through the rope, holding the table onto the cannonball. Then, magically, the bedsheet billowed out like a parachute, and they slowly glided down to the ship. The crew were happy to see them back alive, and the Golden Skull was delighted at getting his neck bones back. "So, what's next?" asked Sproogie eagerly. Captain Blownaparte groaned. "Well," said the Skull, "I think I know where my right arm is hidden, but it's not going to be easy. It's in a dark cave belonging to a very large and extremely bad-tempered sea serpent." "Oh, no! I absolutely hate snakes and serpents," puffed Alfredo. "Okay, then, let's have a big feast, then," said Captain Blownaparte. "It's never a good idea to start a new adventure on an empty stomach." Everybody cheered, and before long, the delicious aroma of the crew's favorite fish pie was wafting up their noses. The end. Or at least the end for now. We'll have to come back next week and finish up with the rest of the story, but it looks like they put their wits about them and teamed up their skills in order to get the job done and defeat Captain Gingerbeard and get the neck bones back. So I look forward to seeing you all next time on Storytime with Doc, where we will continue Captain Blownaparte and the Golden Skeleton. Until then, be well.